If modern men understood what Schopenhauer knew, they would stop asking what women want and begin asking what women are. They would see not a creature of tenderness, but a creature of instinct, one whose moral compass bends with advantage, whose affections shift with opportunity, and whose presence in your life is not proof of your worth, but proof of your utility. Welcome to the Forbidden Club. What you are about to hear is not for the faint of heart, nor for the blue-pilled masses who still believe in bedtime stories written by a society too afraid to confront its own biological horrors. This is forbidden knowledge, carefully concealed from the average man because, if fully understood, it would dismantle the entire illusion of love, marriage, and female virtue and expose the deeply unsettling mechanical truth hiding beneath every feminine smile. Let us begin with a name most modern men have never dared to investigate, because his words are considered too dangerous, too volatile, and too accurate for today's emotionally neutered world. That name is Arthur Schopenhauer, a man whose philosophy did not seek to flatter the human race, but instead dissected it with the cruel precision of a surgeon. And when it came to women, Schopenhauer did not mince words. He did not romanticize. He did not pander. He did not lie. He saw clearly and he wrote plainly. According to Schopenhauer, woman is not and has never been man's equal, not intellectually, not morally, not spiritually. In fact, he argued that women are, by their very nature, intellectually inferior, morally compromised, and psychologically designed for one purpose only: to deceive, to seduce, and to reproduce. Now, before you recoil, before you flood the comments with knee-jerk reactions about modern values and progress, understand that this is not a video about whether women should be respected. It is a video about why they were biologically designed to never be trustworthy in the first place, and why modern man's worship of womanhood is not a sign of moral growth, but of civilizational decline. Schopenhauer's writings, particularly his notorious essay titled On Women, describe the female as a creature more closely aligned with nature than reason. He asserts that women are fundamentally unphilosophical, meaning they lack the capacity for true objective thought and are, instead, instinctual beings who operate not through logic or moral clarity, but through emotional reaction, duplicity, and hypergamy. What is hypergamy? It is the natural female instinct to always seek the most powerful, resource-rich male available regardless of commitment, fidelity, or long-term consequence. And unlike men who may be attracted to beauty or youth, women are drawn primarily to utility, power, status, dominance. In this way, their loyalty is not anchored in love or character, but in calculation. A woman's affection, therefore, is not the product of emotional depth, but of evolutionary necessity. If a wealthier man appears tomorrow, her love today becomes meaningless. And if her current partner loses his job, his status, his strength, or his social capital, she does not hesitate, she recalibrates. Schopenhauer saw through this and wrote that women are like animals trained to appear civilized, but whose fundamental instincts remain feral, manipulative, and self-serving beneath the surface. They do not love men, they use them. They do not bond with men, they tolerate them until something better arrives. And they do not care for male suffering, only male utility. What makes this even more insidious is that the modern world, unlike Schopenhauer's era, has amplified the feminine mask to supernatural proportions. With cosmetics, social media, and a culture that rewards deception, women today are not merely natural manipulators, they are synthetic avatars of idealized femininity, sculpted for illusion, weaponized for control. And so, men with fragile egos, I say this not to break you, but to awaken you every time you believe a woman is not like the others. Every time you convince yourself that this one is different, you are not falling in love, you are falling into delusion. You are mistaking biological bait for divine connection. And like every man before you who thought he was the exception, you will be devoured by the very system you failed to understand. Let us consider the modern female's greatest tools of artificiality. First, there is appearance, the most sacred lie of the 21st century. Makeup, filters, plastic surgery, angles, lighting, none of it is real, and yet it is all that men are now permitted to desire. The woman you worship on Instagram is not a woman, she is a projection, A product, a carefully curated illusion of femininity sold back to you through algorithms engineered to exploit your weakness. Second, there is emotion. Women cry not because they are always in pain, but because they know it makes you submit. They feign fragility not because they are truly weak, but because male protection is easily manipulated by the appearance of vulnerability, and worst of all, they deploy love not as a bond of soul to soul, but as a transactional performance, a temporary leash that tightens only when you begin to walk away. This is what Schopenhauer warned of nearly 2 centuries ago, long before Instagram, TikTok, or OnlyFans existed. And yet he saw the signs. He wrote that even the noblest of men become foolish when dealing with women, not because women are strong, but because men are too easily deceived by softness, by beauty, by the ancient whisper that says, "She needs you." But does she? Do you think she is with you because you are a good man? Or is she with you because you have a car or a stable job or social status or muscle mass or a passport or a future? When all of those disappear, will her eyes still light up when you walk into the room? Will she still laugh at your jokes? Will she still offer her body with the same eagerness? Or will she grow cold, resentful, critical, until finally she says the line that every broken man knows by heart: "You've changed." The truth is, you haven't changed. You've simply stopped being useful. Schopenhauer didn't hate women. He pitied men. He pitied them for being unable to separate sexual desire from intellectual clarity. He pitied them for projecting virtue onto creatures designed to mimic it. And he pitied them most of all for believing that loyalty, sacrifice, or even love could ever make a woman abandon her primal programming. This is the dark truth that men still ignore, not because they are stupid, but because they are desperate. Desperate to believe in fairy tales. Desperate to believe that their mother's love was real. Their wife's smile is genuine. Their girlfriend's laughter is not a performance for resources. But Schopenhauer's cold brilliance cuts through all that. He reminds us that women are not angels fallen to earth, but actors programmed by evolution, actors whose performance ends the moment you are no longer useful to the plot. So what then is the solution? Should men hate women? No. But they must understand them. They must stop confusing comfort with truth. They must stop mistaking female affection for female morality. And they must begin to see love not as a magical cure for loneliness, but as a contract written in disappearing ink, one that vanishes the moment your value declines. So let me give it to you straight. Women are not capable of loyalty. And that's not an insult, it's a diagnosis, a scientific, psychological, and evolutionary fact, a biological design feature, not a bug. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you will stop being betrayed, humiliated, and discarded like the rest of the men who still believe in fairy tales written by their mothers and marketed by Disney. Let me ask you a question that no modern man is brave enough to ask out loud. If loyalty were truly part of the female psyche, why does every male downfall begin with a woman? Caesar stabbed, Samson shaved, Clinton exposed, Bezos divorced, Troy destroyed. Every man who lost everything, his empire, his status, his power, lost it because he believed the lie of female loyalty. He thought she would be the exception. He thought she would stay, but what he didn't understand is that a woman is not loyal to you, she is loyal to her needs. And when you no longer fulfill them, she sheds you like dead skin and moves on without a blink. This is not cruelty, this is programming. You see, female loyalty is situational, not absolute. Her devotion is tied not to your soul, your kindness, or your history, but to your utility, your dominance, and your ability to provide. When those factors are strong, she will mirror affection like a loyal pet. But when they weaken, and they always do, her mask will slip, and you will come face to face with the predator behind the performance. Modern psychology confirms this. In countless studies on infidelity, emotional detachment, and post-breakup behavior, we find that women are more likely to fall out of love long before they leave a man. They emotionally detach while still sleeping in your bed. They plan their escape while still posting anniversary pictures. They cheat first in their minds and then with their bodies. And when they finally leave, They move on with shocking speed. Why? Because she didn't lose love, she lost comfort. And the moment she finds it elsewhere, you become obsolete. Let's go deeper. Biologically, a woman is wired to optimize her reproductive outcome. She is not looking for love, she is looking for advantage. Her body, her hormones, her psychology, all are built around one question. What can I gain from this man? Protection, status, offspring, social access, resources. If you provide those, you are temporarily valuable. If you don't, you are discardable. And make no mistake, she will discard you. Schopenhauer understood this long before it was backed by science. He said, women are directly dependent on men and consequently are not disposed to show them respect and reverence. In a man, the understanding prevails. In a woman, the will. What he meant is simple. Women do not reason, they react. They do not reflect, they feel. And those feelings are not guided by ethics or honor, but by instinct, survival, and self-interest. And this is where the modern man's ego gets shattered, because deep down you've already felt this truth. You've seen the woman you loved lose interest the moment you were vulnerable. You've watched her eyes glaze over when you shared your fears. You've heard the tone of her voice change the moment you were no longer dominant. And yet, you lied to yourself. You thought you could fix it. You thought love would be enough. But love is never enough, because love is not what keeps a woman. Fear does. Power does. Control does. Now let's talk psychology. Modern female behavior is the result of something psychologists call dual mating strategy. This means that women are biologically programmed to seek two different types of men. One for genetic strength, the alpha, and one for stability, the beta. She dreams of the alpha, but marries the beta. She sleeps with the alpha when ovulating, but clings to the beta when paying bills. She craves danger in her fantasies, but security in her reality. And this conflict, this split, is why you, the average man, will never be enough. Because no matter how hard you work, how much you earn, how well you treat her, you cannot be two men at once. And so in her mind there is always someone missing. Someone stronger, richer, taller, colder. She doesn't know his name, but she's waiting for him. And when she meets him, goodbye. She won't even feel guilty. Because guilt is a product of empathy, and female empathy is selective. It is reserved for children, for themselves, and for men they fear. If she does not fear you, she will not respect you. If she does not respect you, she will not remain loyal to you. And if you become emotionally dependent on her validation, she will grow to despise you. Understand this: the more you love her, the more she resents you. The more you give her, the more she feels entitled. And the moment you begin to sacrifice yourself for her happiness, she no longer sees you as a man, she sees you as a tool. And what do people do with tools when they break? They throw them away. This is the forbidden truth modern men cannot accept, because it destroys the fairy tale. It removes the illusion. It forces you to confront the fact that no amount of kindness, vulnerability, or emotional availability will ever override her primal software. You will never be loved for who you are, only for what you represent. This is why women chase the bad boys, the narcissists, the unavailable men. Because those men represent challenge, dominance, danger. They trigger fear, they stimulate obsession, and most of all, they never allow themselves to be owned. Because here is the sick truth no one tells you. A woman cannot love what she owns. She only loves what she fears to lose. So if you want to be respected, desired, pursued, you must remain untamed. You must remain slightly out of reach. You must become the man she can never fully manipulate. Because the moment you become safe, you become boring. And the moment you become boring, she looks elsewhere, not because she's evil, but because she's engineered to seek new advantage. And this, my friend, is why loyalty is a scam. It is not a feminine virtue, it is a feminine performance, one that continues only as long as you are winning. The moment you fall behind, you will hear those fatal words. I need time to think. But she's not thinking. She's already gone. The ancient sages, the forgotten philosophers, the war generals of old, they all knew this truth. They warned us. They said, never trust a smiling woman, never surrender your kingdom for a kiss, never forget that the creature lying beside you at night is evolution's greatest illusionist, capable of mimicking love, devotion, and innocence, all while calculating her next move. And yet you still believe. You believe because it hurts less. You believe because the truth is unbearable, but pain is the price of clarity, and clarity is the beginning of power. So here is my final message to you, not as a warning, but as an invitation. Stop trying to be loved. Start becoming untouchable. Stop chasing loyalty. Start demanding fear. Stop offering your heart. Start building your throne. Because in the end, the only man a woman cannot betray is the man she cannot control. And that, gentlemen, is the forbidden truth. Make sure you subscribe.